What's up, everyone? It's another episode of the Surge Cast. How you doing there, Zach?
Doing good. No complaints. The Hurricanes are on a nice little 6-pack winning streak. I'm not upset about that. And, it's always good to talk about hockey. How are you doing, Kat?
I'm doing pretty good. Honestly, I feel like I've been on this road trip with them. And as excited as I am that they are back for all their home games, it also feels like we're kind of hitting the ground running with a game at home every other day this week. But I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited. It's going to be really fun. It's a lot of Metro matchups, so
Mm-hmm.
it's feeling good. And honestly, and we'll talk a little bit more about this, but I kind of like the way this season is feeling because coming into this season, of course, like we talked with Mike and Shane and even Walt and all of them were like, just have fun with it. Like it's a new team and like you're going to get to learn them, have fun, see how it's going.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of how this team is approaching it. And it's, while there's been some changes there, I kind of feel like it's nice changes. Like, yes, maybe we didn't win our home opener, which we have done for a couple of years now. I don't think
Pretty
we've
much,
really
yeah.
lost one since Rod's been coach, except for one
Not,
overtime one.
yeah, not, yeah, none in the regulations. Yeah, they were on a nice little streak, but I mean, if you told me at the start of the season, hey, you're going to drop your home opener, but then you go 10 out of 12 points on a 6-game road trip for the North Carolina trip, and now you're
on a road trip you normally kind of do pretty bad at.
Yeah, probably, yeah, you usually get about 6 to 8.
Mm-hmm.
Usually about 6 to 8 points. But yeah, you get 10 out of 12. You come home, you take it to the Bruins, pretty handily, which was nice as always, and then you beat a division rival in the Capitals. And now you're on a 6-game winning streak, and now you've got 2 more Metro matchups. Now there's more points available, and you're only 1 point back of the Rangers in the Metro division. I mean, you'll take that. I mean, if you told me that if that's how the season was going to start, I'd be like, sign me up. I'll go 8-2 for the first 10 games with a game postponement, and then even if you drop your home opener. So yeah, it's definitely it's been a lot of fun. That's for sure.
Honestly, we're 1 point back from the Rangers, but we've also played one less game than them. So even with the home opener, as you never want to like see that. You want to start the season off right. I mean, we were coming in against a team that had already played some games. We were starting the season a little bit slower than everyone else. But since then, I mean, it seems like the guys have really figured it out. And it's kind of even crazier that there are some names that have stood out, but also some names that they're not exactly quiet, but they're not the standout names that you would be expecting when the Canes are on such a heater like they are.
Right.
So I guess the first thing we want to talk about is kind of, Zach, who has stood out to you or what has stood out to you the most during the first part of the season so far? Was there 10 games in?
Oh, I think for me, it's kind of like, I think pretty much everyone knows kind of like the main guys who've been kind of standing out. But for me, I actually want to give some flowers to one guy in particular who, a lot of people had some question marks on how he was going to be going into the season. It was like more of a make or break, especially all the turmoil going through the offseason. How about just Barry Kokoniemi right now for the Canes? He's a +7, 4th on the team. And even in terms of points, he's sitting tied for 5th with Seth Jarvis, 1 goal and 7 assists. And for me, it's one of those things where it's, his faceoff's been really good this year mostly on the defensive side, but he's found a way to, turn his stick backwards and still win faceoffs. So I feel like from what he's doing is the fact that, even against the Capitals, he had another assist. So it's like he's getting the assist that he should have gotten last year. Because if you look at, he could have gotten so many tertiary assists last year because of all the setups he's done. But now he's finally getting all the actual ones that he deserved. And he finally got on the score sheet too on a brilliant goal for that last one against the Bruins. And you definitely have to, it's one of like the things you kind of want to stand out and be like, okay, this guy deserves the flowers, especially how just, the offseason was for him. And you hear all the noise of buyouts and trades and is his contract worth it and stuff like that. So you got to give props to KK for being on a really good start the year and how you're seeing his defensive side really shining as what we all thought he should be, which is Jordan Staal 2.0, who's a lot younger and someone who can with that contract, give it like 2 or 3 seasons when the cap's at $100 million, you'll take that 4.82 with no problems.
Yeah.
What about you, Kat? What's one of the things that stood out to you so far? I know we got a few to talk about, but what's one of yours?
Obviously everyone like the name to know right now is Martin Necas kind of standing out, making his deal worth it. And we will of course be singing his praises. Honestly, it's some of the newer guys. So October was the month of the Ghost. I mean, he was on fire. If you watch granted, our power play during the Caps game wasn't as great, but just watching how his presence is on that power play, just nonstop back and forth online, getting the guys to move. Honestly, I think they were just trying to do a little bit too much on the Caps game. Him and Nate just had some great passes, but after a while, like one of you's got to like shoot it.
Yeah.
But overall, like his presence, his defense, like he has such defensive prowess. Him and paired with Walker has been honestly such a great addition. And I know a lot of Canes fans were really nervous losing such a long-standing pair of Pesci and Shea. So to have these two come in there and just kind of be like, hey, we're good too. We can do what they did. We've got you on the defense, and now we are helping you on the scoring. Honestly, it's the Ghost Man. And there's a couple of names. So it's really funny. Like the Canes as a whole, no one's really like struggling. A couple other names. I could talk about the whole team, but Jack Drury.
Yep.
It's playing on our fourth line, but that he has been trusted with Rod with so much responsibility, and you can kind of see him thriving. Like he is, funny enough, on that fourth line is a veteran presence for the Canes. Because he's all the other guys are newer, and the other guys are doing great with him. Like you're like, how is he going to do without Nason there? But him and Carey work great together. He sets it up. He is, I believe, after last night, he was leading the Canes in faceoffs. And he also, when they were out there and they were down on that 5-on-3, it was like a kind of a really big nod to him that I believe he was out. It was him. He was one of the three. It was him. And I believe Slavin and another defenseman. I'm not sure. Maybe it was Burns, but I was just noticing, okay, so you're trusting your fourth line guy to be one of your big three when you can't have it. Like, normally you think, Stahl's out there, Martinook's out there, Slavin, of course. But like that's a lot of trust. Like that's extra defense, and that's a lot of responsibility. And that's the kind of centers that Rod really loves. So I just thought that was a really big nod to Drury. And like when he is on the ice, you can tell he's very noticeable. And he's another guy where maybe not this offseason, but the one before, there's a lot of question marks because he kind of wasn't really. It sounded like he requested a trade. And honestly, I think he just wanted more to do. Like he was like, I can do more. And there wasn't a lot of room for him on the roster. And I think now he's being granted that extra, like, hey, we trust you. You've been with us. We know you know our system. You're really doing everything we're asking you to do. And again, while he's a fourth line, he's not the fourth line. Unless we're down, I would see maybe they get a little less ice time. But I don't see Rod limiting them too much. Because
it's fairly even for the most part. Like maybe like a 2-3 minute difference. If
like Carey has been amazing. That was another name I was gonna say. He's been like he's that Nason like little pest ready to get in anyone's face, but also like he fit right in with Stahl and Martinook. Like he's that presence of just nonstop push, and he's not afraid to back down from anyone jawing at him. So
I think that's why you bring him in for his, because he's won a cup with the Golden Knights, and that's why you sign for a guy like that for 6 years at $2 million, which is, the term alone is insane, but for the fact of how much you're paying him for, and everyone's talking about how he's an analytical darling for the fourth line, and we're obviously seeing it because the Hurricanes are analytical merchants, and Carey, like you said, Cap,
he's gotten points on every line he's been on. So I mean,
pretty much. And Jackson Blake's been good too on that. Those two with Blake, that's a great fourth line. And so there's two guys I want to bring up because they're kind of like a nice little like combo duo for me. From their connection with the Columbus Blue Jackets, because you gotta give praise to these two guys. How about Eric Robinson just kind of sliding his way out of the fourth line, then slides into the top 6?
Gosh, I feel like everyone, they're like, who is this guy? And they're like, that's gonna be just a fill-in guy. Like maybe he'll make our fourth line. Like no one had like super high expectations from him, but then he was like, hey, by the way, I'm gonna get up to your second line, and you're gonna see me all over the ice.
How about this, Cat? How about the fact that he is tied with Martin Necas for the team lead in plus minus at +9, and also for the fact too he's got 1 goal, 4 assists, and 5 points. And I can tell you right now, he
almost had another goal last night. He dinged it off the post, and I was like,
he did. Oh, I can tell you right now, there's a lot of people in Columbus and even in Buffalo who know how good Eric Robinson is. I guess just because of the fact that like when you're looking at the two teams that are kind of towards the bottom, and unless you're watching them closely, luckily the Jackets are one of my other teams, so I kind of somewhat keep it. I mean, I see Jacket stuff all over my timeline because I have a lot of mutual friends back home who are Jackets fans, of course. Like I said, me liking them as well. So I knew what Eric Robinson's game was, and for the fact that Seth Jarvis even talked about his speed, and another guy I'm going to bring up, Robinson's speed is so underrated for the fact of how his setups, even for like Blaker's goal back against Pittsburgh, how great that pass was. Be able to go down below, almost below the net, find him wide open in that top corner and pass it to him perfectly. And just even like all the passes you've seen recently too, like I forget what game it was, but it was like, I think it was like him and Martin Necas on that give and go after KK like sprung him. And then it just worked out perfect. I forget what game it was. I know it was like towards the end of the trip. I think it was either Edmonton or Calgary. I forget which one it was. But just the way they play together, and it's funny how you look at the roster. You look at, okay, they beat Pittsburgh pretty handily. Lots of close one to St. Louis. You're down early against Edmonton. You do the roster change. You do the line switch. And ever since that line switch, the Hurricanes have won 6 straight games.
Oh
and
my gosh.
And it's like whatever this combination of lines somehow just unlocked the team who's
I said it from the beginning, Zach.
Their goals 4 per game, and their top 10 in goals allowed.
Yeah. Well, I said it from the beginning, and I'm going to echo it now. I think, as the team likes to call him, Rosie or Razlovic, Rosie benefit from not being on the same line together. Again, I think they are very similar players, and I like that we have changed the lineup so that you got that type of player on your first 2 lines, but not together, because I don't think they benefited from each other, but I think they complement the players they're with. So
it's funny. So my other guy that I was going to bring up was that Columbus Blue Jacket connection, Jack Roslovic, because and Seth Jarvis even said it during his press conference, or after his press conference, Jack Roslovic's speed was very noticeable, and I've talked about it. We've heard Mike Maniscalco talk about it, because I talked to Mike when I was up there for the practice back in like early October. And it was like during the preseason, and he's like, I really hope that Jack Roslovic does well, because you saw what he did to us in the playoffs when he was with the Rangers, and you've seen he's got 6 goals. I think he is, as of right now, tied with Martin Necas in goals with 6. All of his points are goals, but he's a +3. We talked about he might be on the top, might be in the top 6. He was like first line left wing for all preseason, goes down to the second line, and then road trip Edmonton. Now he first line right wing. It feels like he's just slid in there perfectly. And you've heard him say it too, he's like, this system fits how I play, because it's fast transitional hockey. And I think if you are a speed guy like Martin Necas, Seth Jarvis, Robinson, Roslovic, Jalen Chatfield, Ghost, if you got wheels, you will benefit really greatly with this team, especially of how their transition game works so well from blue line back. And that's why you see a lot. That's why you see a lot of these guys turning themselves in from just straight snipers to like 2 ways. We want you to still do what you do, what made you a great hockey player to get to this, but we also want you to incorporate a little bit of a defense. And that's why you see how is Shane Gostisbehere, going back to him real quick, his defense has been phenomenal so far. I mean, we know it's not, Jacob Slavin, up to that level, but he's coming back for a second stint.
It's a high level there. It's a high level there for those guys to meet.
But it looks like Shane Gostisbehere looks like he never even left for Detroit last year. He comes back, slides in perfectly well. Robinson slid in very well. Like I said, he tied for the team lead in plus minus. Jack Roslovic is tied for the team lead in goals. So it's like you have to give a lot of these flowers to those guys. For like you said, Kat, for all these guys who are coming in who are so new, they're playing some great hockey right now. And just for the fact that, it's like, oh, how's this team going to be? This team's going to take a step back. It's like, I think my demise was greatly exaggerated because that's where we're at right now with the Hurricanes. It's like, all those people thought they were going to miss
the Bruins guy where he's like, they struggled at home. And I was like, my guy, we've only played 2 games at home. Only 2. And and one was the first game. Like, that's interesting take, but sure.
And everyone who thought we were going to miss the playoffs, that was cute. Yeah, sure.
It's really nice to see again, like we're kind of taking it as it goes. Again, we've got a new team, but to see them come out running like this and a lot of the new guys, like it kind of not only does it bring the fans to really have trust in the new guys, but it also reminds them to kind of trust in Tulsky. Like he saw what these guys had to offer, probably more than a lot of fans did on other teams might be like, yeah, we saw what type of player he was. But to like see a guy, what he has to offer, and then see how he can fit into the Kane system is like a really big gift, honestly. So like you have to, and they're judging character and how they play. So
100%. Because you look at Roslovic, he's making 2.8 for the one season. If he keeps playing well, I'd be happy with a 2-3 year deal for Roslovic if it works out. If he keeps playing well, and of course you look at Robinson, he's making less than $1 million, and we talked about the Ghost Walker pair, which great nickname. I'm glad everyone kind of jumped out of the Ghost Walker thing. The fact that you're paying these guys $6.8 million, and they're playing so well. I mean, I love Shea and Pesh, but for the fact that you're paying 2 guys $200,000 less than Brady Shea, and you're able to bring in Seth Jarvis back on his deal, Martin Nietzsche's on his contract, and all these other surrounding pieces that right now have been playing really well. So, like you said, Kat, gotta give the shout out to Eric Tulsky and Earl Schwartz, the compliance officer and stuff like that, and Darren York and all them, the scouts, pro and amateur. They have found a way to, you're having to figure out how to do cap. And the thing is, like, the Kings they don't spend money. We're less than $100,000 under the cap. Like the Kings spend pretty well. So
that's true. And I'm going to pivot here for a second because we've kind of gone into the next thing I want to talk about. We're talking about like some of our likes and dislikes of the team. Obviously, we're singing their praises right now.
Yep.
But I do want to ask you, I want to pivot and see, do you have, if there are anything, do you have any dislikes from what's going on with the team right now?
I would say it's a very small. I would say maybe not even 1 or 2. I think there's maybe 2 things, and they kind of go hand in hand. It's the last few games. I think it's just we're taking like the start of the season way too many penalties. The last couple of games against Boston and Washington, kind of taking too many penalties, and they're unnecessary penalties on my part. Now that 5-on-3 against the Capitals when they got a double, like they had 2 penalties at the same time.
I agree. Okay. I agree that the Canes can always take less penalties. Let's be honest. Yeah. So I agree. Yeah. I also, from being at those games, I will say it is a weird momentum shift as well because it feels like the system is trying to play us a little bit, and I'm not saying like
it's a little ticky-tacky. Yeah,
I know we commit penalties, and I know that we're guilty for some of them. I will say though, from the games against the Bruins and the Caps, we were on top of them. We had all of the momentum, and we were killing them. And it seemed that they called a penalty, which was a penalty that had probably been going on between both teams for a very little bit, but they just seemed to call it just to give momentum back to the other team.
Yeah, but it's one of those things. Yeah, and you look at the penalties.
Conspiracy, but feels like it.
Right. So, and the thing is, like, we have 4 guys that are over 10 minutes already. Of course, with Jesperi Kotkaniemi and Shane Gossip are both at 10. Sean Walker, I'm kind of surprised. Even though he's a +5, he's got 12 minutes. And, of course, Shane's at a +4 and Jesperi's at a +7. But one guy I have to talk about, and I think you know where I'm going with this, he's also tied for the team lead in PIMS with 12. He is a -1. Of course, that's what we always talk about, context stat for plus minus, but it's mainly for the defense more than the offense. Andrei Svechnikov, brother. We see this every year.
Death taxes and him in the box.
Yeah, I love Svetch, but sometimes like, man, you really got to stop taking these penalties. I know some of them are not your fault because you big power forward body.
Don't get any benefit of the doubt. Yeah.
Doesn't get no benefit of the doubt, but at the same time, I'm like, man, a little too much right now. I guess I'm trying to give you. This is a very like I'm just nitpicking a dislike. I guess it's just the unnecessary penalty from the team overall. But when you see Andrei Svechnikov being kind of at the top again, I'm like, Andre, we kind of need you for power plays, or just 5-on-5. So it's not so much on him. It's more of like, it's the benefit of the doubt, but also at the same time, it's like there were some penalties where you're like, maybe not the perfect time to get a penalty, but like I said, it's a very it's a small what can you do?
So,
but it's just the penalties from here. Like, all right, we need to tone it down a little bit.
So
what about you, Kat? What's your dislikes?
I will. Well, one I'll tie. I've got a like and a dislike. I know our unpaid intern wanted a couple, but I don't have many dislikes. I do have a couple likes too, but we'll do that. Yeah. I will start with my like because what I actually like is tying into your dislike of the penalty minutes.
Yeah.
We have seen a team that even when they get when the game gets tied, they get lots of penalty minutes. Mm-hmm. They get down in the game. They don't give up. The shots don't stop. They play just as they were playing, like they were again with the Caps.
Even Boston too. They had a lot of offensive chances
for that first period, which is really funny. And I really want to say I feel like it was Kane Statbrand that said it. But he literally was like, that was 18 minutes of Kane's hockey and 2 minutes of pure ass. And it was like,
that was Kane's stats, but because it's like, and it was true. Over in the office again. I'm like, I'm gonna get PTSD when this guy leaves the league. And it's just, he's just standing there, and it's like,
well, I don't know what the Caps are going to do. They're gonna pass over there, and no one's gonna be there, and they're gonna be like, "What's happening?"
I don't know. He's 2 decades, and somehow no one is still. This,
we talked about before, and I know we're going off on a little bit of a tangent. We talked about before that we don't know if it's going to be this season that he ties his he gets up there, but with with the penalty, the power plays they get, and that's all they do, and that's all he does. He might. Yeah. He was trying for at least 2 or 3 last night. But anyway, I love the bounce back of this team. Nobody seems to get really discouraged right after that. Coming into the second, of course, you have all the momentum in the first. It's easy to get discouraged if you're like, how are we the dominant team and we're down 2-1? And they came right back and
backbreakers, yeah.
And they came back and they scored right away and never looked back. Yeah. So their determination and just resilience so far has been really outstanding. Like, you don't see discourse among the team. You don't see anyone getting down on themselves. Like, it's a very, the team atmosphere is very strong. So I really like that. I will say, okay, I'll let you say it because my dislike kind of ties into our next thing. So what is your like, since I made you start with just your dislikes?
Oh, you're good. Well, because we kind of mentioned him a little bit. I know this is really more like of a team thing, which I'll bring into. It's like, the guy I want to talk about does fit into this main thing. It's the power play. Power play once again has been amazing. There's been a couple games where, especially against the Capitals, earlier in the. Before they went on that 5-game streak of 5 power play goals in 5 straight games, kind of starts slow, but they've been moving the puck around a lot. You can definitely tell there's not a lot of standing; they're actually moving around, especially with that first unit where you got Necas, Aho, Jarvis, and there's Svechnikov, Necas, Aho, Gossesbear. They've been working so great together. I've been really enjoying that first power play unit because you're like, okay, how are they going to do being so overloaded? It's working out pretty well. And like I said, we kind of talked about them, but we didn't really.
The second power play unit does look a little sad, though. I will say they do look a little sad. I mean, granted, they don't get a lot of time. They do look a little sad. That's
what we've tried the 2 power play units. Doesn't work. Let's just load up one, give them in 90 seconds, and somehow it's been working. We kind of mentioned him, but didn't really talk about him a lot, so I have to dive into the power play. Martin Necas. I mean, heck, you pay him $6.5 million. Kat, I think he's at a 1.9
second star of the week.
Yep, second star of the week. He is 1.98 points per game. He's almost a 2 points per game guy right now for the Canes. And I think his 5-on-5 time on ice average is like a tad under 13 minutes. So like 5-on-5 even strength per game, almost 13 minutes. His goals for percentage, 60%. That is a high number to have. You want to be over 50. He's almost at 60. And then in terms of Corsi 4, which you want to be over 50%. He's at like 55.7 or 5, like 55 point something, which is almost closer to 56.
Blondes have more fun.
I'm just saying he might need to keep the frosted tips because he's playing some phenomenal hockey. But we can't talk about how good this team is without talking about how the fact that Marty Necas is.
Yeah.
Now, is he going to keep the pace up? Who knows? Hopefully, because we know he's streaky. But if he stay consistent. Like we're not saying you have to
I'd love it if he stayed consistent.
Game.
But also, we have guys that are silently contributing and they're not on their hot streaks yet, but easily could. Like if he got a little bit cold at one point, you've got Jarvis, Fetch, and Aho. All you're like maybe they're
Roslovic, Robinson, Jackson Blake.
And like maybe you're not getting from those, especially the three I named. They're normally like top contributors and they still are. And you might be like, well, they're a little bit quiet, but like, okay, but Necas is on fire. So let him be on fire. And if there's a moment where he goes a little bit cold, I'm sure those guys will pick it up. All of them have had some great chances. Aho had some amazing ones against the Caps. Jarvis skating circles around the entire Caps defense was the highlight of the night.
So great, yeah.
He forgot it wasn't NASCAR night. But
yeah. What's your dislike that feeds into our next thing?
My dislike right now, and it's not fully a dislike, but man, I am so upset for Freddie that he is hurt again.
Oh yeah, week to week with a lower body. It's like, come on.
The dislike is that our two goalies were being on fire, and then Freddie got injured, which is. I'm upset for him because he was playing so well, and it's week to week. I don't think it's not a crazy injury like it was where he had to go out long term for a while. And it's a little like bittersweet because you're like he was playing so well. You love to have him on the team. He just deserved to be having a good season, and.
Yeah, like he leads the league in goals against average at a 1.48 and is a 941 save percentage. Like
he's doing so well, but like don't get me wrong. That's why I say it's bittersweet because now it's Piotr's net and Piotr's doing really well. Piotr is taking it in stride. I have honestly
251
honestly only had one complaint against Piotr, and it was I'm forgetting which game. It's the
Canucks game. Is the one where it's
the one game that he came out. And it's learning to trust your defense because even Rod talked about it. Like he was like, "Hey, he's gonna learn. I'm not gonna get on him about it because he understands and he can learn from it. And like he's got to learn." Because watching that game, I was like, Chatfield has him. Like Chatfield, yes, he's getting bad, but Chatfield is faster. Like he is gonna take off that angle, no problem. And Piotr didn't trust him, and then it turned into a crazy play. And
yeah, it was definitely a fire. And I try to give him the benefit of the doubt, too, like you said, because it's a learning experience. But you're talking like a side angle from what we're seeing. Yeah. He's looking at it straight on, so you don't know how close Chatfield is to this guy. So I can kind of see why he's like, I gotta get out there. But it's like,
but he's also that type of goalie. Like he's a very he gives the Mrazek vibes of going challenging, and. I will say, not that crazy, I will say it does look like he has learned from it because I've seen other games now where either Ghost is getting back, Walker's getting back, and you can see he's staying at home and trusting his defense. And most of the time they've cut off enough angle that he can do that save, and he's great. So you can tell he's a lot more comfortable in trusting his defense. So I would say that's kind of the only since he's been playing, that's the only time where I'm like, oh, and then of course.
Yeah.
Last night he had a little bit of a whiff at the back of the net. The highlight of that though is we got out of it, of course, but the highlight of it is, of course, our unpaid intern was watching him while after the play moved down the other side of the ice, and he started laughing because Piotr went back there and you could see him mimic what was what he did wrong. How did I miss that puck? And it just seeing him kind of go back there and being like, let me teach myself let me learn from this. So again, we have a young goalie. His interviews are amazing.
Oh, they're fantastic. Yeah.
But he's been great. Like he stonewalled. I don't think he could have stopped either the Caps goals. I mean, one was a power play, and of course he's like, I wanted to stop. He stopped Ovi on other ones. Yeah, and the other one, unfortunately, Slavin is a little bit. He's gotten a few past Piotr more than the other teams have.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, what can you really do? I mean, it's like even against like the St. Louis game. I mean, there was a lot of shit like deflections. What can you do? You know, just wrong place, wrong time of certain setups and stuff like that. And I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things. It happens, but I mean, he's been, like you said, Kat. You know, he's got 251 goals against. His save percentage is .893, but to be fair, when you look at where those are, you're talking like what? He's given up 2 goals on 15 shots, 2 goals on like 19. So it's like I would never necessarily look at the save percentage and be like, wow, his save percentage is under 900. He must be doing bad. No, it's just the team is not giving the other team a lot of shots, especially like you look at the Bruins game. The Bruins only had 15 shots. They had 5 for each period. So it's just one of those things where if you let in a couple goals, yeah, your save percentage isn't that great, but you got to look at how many shots he saved. And I mean, you got to give credit to Piotr against the Capitals. That was a fire sale, like just a bad drill. All those chances where it was just like, it seems like they could not get the puck out of the zone. I'm like, okay, I'm getting nervous. Well, like I was starting to freak out. It was like, oh my gosh.
We would have all the momentum and we would play that very fast game that you talked about earlier. And the Caps really like a slower game. So the moment they got us out of our system and they got control, like they slowed it down and got in our zone, that's when they got a little bit more dangerous. But honestly, when we played our game, they couldn't really keep up with it. So, I mean, good on Piotr for kind of sticking through all of that. Like he said, it was like, it's not fun when you're sitting there and you're getting cold. And then all of a sudden you get like a barrage of shots.
Yeah. I love the fact I got to give Jimmy Sharov a lot of credit. How about for the fact that he played his old team, played there for like, I think he said it was like 12 years, got 2 goals, multi-goal night. How about for the fact that he was absolutely chirping back at PLD? Because PLD, like you can clearly see that he high sticked him.
He high sticked. Not only did he high stick him, but he can't even say, "Oh, they tied up sticks and he got him." Dimitri didn't have a stick. Like he literally just went up on him, and it's like, and then he told Dimitri that he dove, and you're like, PLD isn't like he's new to the Caps because Dimitri's over here being like, it's kind of bittersweet playing my team, like it's a lot of emotions, and I think a lot of them probably have still respect for him, and the PLD comes out here like, oh, you're diving, and I'm like.
No, in my head, I'm seeing him mimic the dive motion. And I'm like, where was the dive?
Huge boost for it too.
Yeah, like you literally you see his stick just go straight up at him in the face. Like
my favorite thing is when Dimitri got by the ref and just gloved him in the face. Like here, man, this is what it felt like. Take it.
Yeah, it was funny out of the fact that it's like. I don't know, Dubois, man. I don't know what his deal is. Like, it's just
his deal is that he's not good and he's overpaid and nobody really wants him. But fine.
I want to see where. Yeah. So how about 1 goal, 5 assists. He's got 6 points in 11 games, but he's a -1.
Yeah, sounds about right. He was trying a lot, but not trying a lot of good things. But anyway, we could go on and talk more and more about Piotr, and we're very excited that our baby goalie is getting a chance to shine.
Spencer Martin is back too. So
yes, he is the backup for now while Freddie is out. But of course, we have more to talk about. We've had again, it's been quite a stretch for the Canes. But we're going to take a little break here to hear from our sponsors, and then we'll be right back. All right, Zach. I don't know about you, but Black Friday. It's November. Black Friday sales are coming up, and I'm kind of excited about them. A lot of businesses, like they do them either closer to Black Friday or throughout the month. And when you get that deal that you're like, oh, this thing definitely won't go on sale. But then it does. And it's a super good, and it's like the one thing you were waiting on all year. Or it's like they had a sale earlier in the year and then you're like, oh, I missed it. And they put it back on sale for Black Friday. You're like, now's the time to grab it.
Right.
What's even better with Raycon, because with Raycon, you get amazing deals on premium audio every day of the year. But that doesn't mean they're not having any Black Friday sales. Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Far from it, they're actually doubling down on the amazing value by offering our viewers up to 30% worldwide. So it's not even a Sebastian Aho deal. We got a Cam Ward deal out there.
Oh, well, I mean, if you're talking about the Carolina Hurricanes Hall of Famer Cam Ward, I mean, you have to make that deal even more special. So.
I mean, yeah, it's a Black Friday, Cyber Monday deal that you'll appreciate every day, just like we appreciated Cam Ward every time he was in our net. Raycon's everyday earbuds, especially if you've checked out their latest model, which includes plenty of new features that make them even more of a must-have for any audio lover. For example, now they feature a 32-hour battery life and multi-point connectivity that lets you pair with 2 devices at once, which I kind of love. I'm definitely one of those people when I go out for my errands to when I go shopping in the grocery store, and sometimes I just really just want to focus. I put my earbuds in and I'm like, nobody talk to me. Let me get to this list, especially if I'm on a time crunch.
Right.
And being able, so that battery life is super nice that you don't have to charge them every day. You can just use them, and then eventually 32 hours. I mean, that lasts longer than you think. Unless
it does, yeah, especially if you just put them in their charger and just let them sit for a bit. Yeah, they last a good bit. Like you can go for about almost 4 or 5 days, even if you don't use them, they still have life. So yeah, that's pretty solid.
But also with that shopping in the grocery store, I not just listening to music, but also tuning out outside noise. The Raycon's everyday earbuds also come with active noise cancellation. It's a feature that's a must-have for me. Whether it's grocery shopping, on trips, like if you're in the car and people up front are like your backseat princess. Sorry, maybe backseat king for you, but people are talking or they're listening to something you don't want to. You could just turn those on and listen to whatever else you want, or get some sleep because you have some audiobook or a podcast, or even us keeping you company in the long car ride. So because that's another thing, although Raycon's quality rivals some of the biggest names in premium audio, Raycon starts at just half the price of the other guys. So they're already at an incredible deal, even before you factor in their Black Friday and Cyber Monday offer of up to 30% off site-wide. Again, I'm just going to say that's a great deal, whether it's for like everybody can use some new headphones come around the time of the year, whether they've lost ones that they have, or they just start to like, they don't work as well.
Old. Yeah, they're old. And yeah, you just need something, you need a new pair. So Kat, what's the discount that we can use if we have to go buy some? Like, what's the code?
What's the code? Oh yeah, it's time to save big for the Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Go to buyraycon.com/THPN today to get up to 30% off site-wide. That's right. You get up to 30% off everything on Raycon's website when you go to buyraycon.com/THPN.
I mean, hey, you can't go wrong with using a little network deal. And, big shout out to our guys for doing that. So, hey, if you need some cool headphones, use that Cam Ward discount, guys. THPN.
Yep. Now's the perfect time to scoop them up if you haven't already. And don't worry, if you're not as impressed as we are, the Raycons offers a 30-day happiness guarantee, so you can't really lose. Go snag that Cam Ward discount again at buyraycon.com/THPN.
Hockey is back. From the sounds of the board slamming to the eruption of a game-tying or game-winning goal, there's nothing quite like experiencing hockey in person. At GameTime, you can get in on the action for hockey, other sport events, concerts, and shows. GameTime has a new feature called GameTime Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play and your favorite shows live even easier. GameTime Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Looking ahead, when the Rangers come to town on November 27th to the Lenovo Center, you'd expect the ticket prices to be through the roof, considering fans from Cary might make their way over, but that's not the case with GameTime. The super deal available right now, Section 109, Row G, just $155. Amazing deals like Section 309 for $51. Available on GameTime. And GameTime Picks makes it easy for you to find deals on sports, concert shows that you want to get to. Even last call deals for even better savings. I love the idea of the last call feature that, if you just want to spontaneously go to a show, a sporting event last second, you still find great deals. Plus, when you buy, get the view of your seat so you don't even have to question the sight line that you'll have. So GameTime Picks, again, just makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more by curating your experience. All-in pricing, if you toggle this on, that feature shows you the total up front, so there's no surprise fees at checkout. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with GameTime Picks. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code THPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code THPN for $20 off. Download GameTime today. What time is it? Game time. The quest for the Stanley Cup starts now. The puck's dropping on the 24-25 season. Get in on all the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple, like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. Look into something like winning the MVP, division winners, and more, also available at DraftKings. And if you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That is code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Our OG sponsor, Primo X Hockey. Whether it's apparel, bags, goalie gear, jerseys, you name it, Primo X. Yeah, even a couple of buckets for you. Primo X Hockey has it for you. They are located here in Raleigh, 1401 Diggs Drive, Suite E. Monday through Friday, they're open 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Even have availability and times open on the weekend from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday and 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Sunday. So for local pickup, save 20% with code in-store pickup online. How about that deal? Also use code SurgeCast for 20% off your Sebastian Aho deals as well. So even skate sharpening, $5. How about that deal? Primo X Hockey. They have all the hockey gear to get you right for the season.
All right. We love our sponsors. We especially love them as we get closer to the time of the year where savings really count, as we have Cyber Monday, Black Friday, Christmas, all things you need to save on.
I can't believe it's already November. I'm like, what happened to the time this year?
Yeah, man? Everyone make sure you're getting all your deals in, because anywhere you can save money, especially whether it's a gift for yourself or for loved ones, I highly recommend. But so we were talking about how great Piotr has been, and we kind of talked about it a little bit earlier, because we're just going to keep singing their praises, because this road trip was just amazing. And I know we've had a few extra games too, because listen, spooky season got us all. We got the road trip, spooky season, Halloween was super busy. So sorry, we're coming to you a little bit later and a lot more to talk about. But
the scheduling for all three of us has been absolutely insane. Well, of course, with Bailey, congratulations to her and her new gig with the hockey news, covering not the Hurricanes, but it's the Avalanche. So yeah, she's been especially busy with that too. So yeah, it's been a little crazy for us over here at the Surge.
It has, and we do love that we're coming back to you singing the praises, especially of getting to hear that our Mr. Rookie is staying in the NHL.
Yeah, how about for the fact that it was his dad, Jason, that gave him the news too, for the fact that Eric Tulsky called Jason, of course, former NHLer himself, and then he called Jackson. He's like, hey, you might want to start looking for a place because you're staying for a bit. So I love Jackson's response. No more hotel life. It's like, yep, you go, and that's crazy for the fact that he even on the road he's in hotels, and even back home in Raleigh he's in a hotel. So it's good to see that he's finally being able to go find his own place. And, he's been playing some really great hockey. You got to give him a lot of credit for it. He's already got a couple goals under his belt. Of course, those are from Dmitry Orlov's shots. 3 goals, 2 assists for 5 points. You'll take that. And for the fact that he's already got 2 game-winning goals. Welcome to the NHL, Jackson Blake. And, it shows why he was a Hobey Baker finalist with North Dakota last season. Just he's coming here, and we talked about earlier, Kat, he's fitting so well to this team. Talking to Nick from Kane's Prospects and just stuff like that. And, you can kind of tell that he was one of those guys who was probably the best fit in terms of making the roster. Even at the time we talk about Bradley Nadeau, like how the roster was getting kind of set to where, okay, who can you put in the top 6? Okay, it might be Bradley Nadeau, but there's a guy you want to throw in the roster overall that could be like a surefire Ryan Brandmore type player. That was Jackson Blake, and you're seeing that already with the fact that playing fourth line minutes, because we all know Rod doesn't really number his lines, and he actually rolls them out pretty regularly. And even you saw it against Pittsburgh, like he was throwing that line out consistently too. So,
and he's got thrown up on the top line a couple of times as well, I believe. Like he's been shifted around. Again, we talked about
too as well. He's also
a lot of the new guys have been able to be moved around. So you've got Roslovic bumping up from second line to first line. You've got Robinson coming up from the fourth. And you might think, well, hey, like what about Seth Jarvis? Like, why did he get bumped down? Seth Jarvis does great with the Jordans.
We saw it last year. He's already doing great with them. We already know that line works.
You can throw Jarvis kind of anywhere and he excels.
Seth Jarvis is that Swiss Army knife, man. Penalty kill, power play, first, second, third, fourth line. I mean, heck, he can go and do third. Like he can be like on a 5-on-3 PK and be the center and still do his job. That's just how good that kid's gotten. So, but yeah, Jackson Blake. I mean, what more can you say about this kid? Just coming in, doing his business. Already 5 points. His goals have been really great too. You can tell that he's really put in the extra effort to get 2
even
tip-ins
though the
from
NHL
Dmitry
doesn't
Orlov.
seem to remember he exists as a rookie.
I'm glad the King said something. I was like, it's like, oh, we forgot. He's like, oh, we didn't realize that Jackson Blake wasn't in the NHL. And it's like, what are we doing here?
We didn't realize he retired. Yeah, so we're really excited. Again, I was very excited when we had when Jarvis was first up, when Drury was first up. It's nice to see like young blood on the team. Because you get new guys coming in. We get a lot of veterans and guys in the off season, but to have some of our picks start to come up and be like, hey, this is why we got this guy. We knew he was going to fit in, to have him crack the roster, especially over some other veteran guys are down at the AHL. It's super fun. I feel like he's taken it with stride. You can definitely see he still has a little bit of rookie tendencies, but he also is fitting into the system, and you can see he's getting more and more comfortable and playing with his line mates day by day.
I mean, nothing wrong when you're learning from the Jordans, even Jack Drury, or you're looking at Aho, Jarvis. I mean, Jacob Slaver for the most part. And let's not forget, Rod Brind'Amour, your head coach. Not a bad person to learn the game from.
So what was because like we said, Svech has had a couple of goals, some empty netters, some power plays. We have talked about a lot of the guys. But Aho is, like we said, like he normally, and it's same this season, like he starts the season a little bit slow. I would say this one though, it's kind of interesting because he's not really, his name isn't one of the top ones right now as it normally is, especially towards the end of the season. Right. But he's putting in the work. Like, I'm sorry, was the Edmonton and the Vancouver game was so fun. And you know who scored the 2 overtime goals?
Sebastian Aho. And how about for the fact that he's now tied for the team lead in franchise history with 57 game winners, with a Hurricanes Hall of Famer and a NHL Hall of Famer and a Cup winner in Ron Francis. So, I mean, congratulations to Sebastian Aho for tying a legend. Of course, we all know he's going to break it in the next whatever availability he can. But, I mean, you can't go wrong when you get 2 OT winners, and of course it's Sebastian Aho twice. And I mean, that one against Vancouver on Kevin Lankinen, oh my, that was you want to frame that on the wall. That's how nice
it was giving me him versus Vasi goal feels.
Oh yes, yeah, that was. I will say though, I gotta give credit to the Capitals for bringing back those old school jerseys. Those ones are their best ones. I'll just say that right now. Like the ones they have now are okay, but those retro red, black, and the other ones, phenomenal jerseys. But yeah, Aho, great goal. Can't go wrong with that. Of course, like you said, Cat against Edmonton. not a bad way to come back down from 2-0 after McJesus want to get his couple goals in, and you come back and he gets the game winner. So you might have had the early lead, but we had the last laugh. So why not why not from the Superfish himself?
I agree. So I just can't wait to see what all of these guys do. Maybe Aho gets a little bit more hot. Necas stays on his heater. We still have 2 more Metro games this week.
Yep.
In Philly and Pittsburgh. And then we're back on the road.
Yeah. A little bit, a quick little roadie. Nothing too crazy, but of course, welcome back to Canes After Dark. If you were hoping for a little bit of a longer break, sorry, not so much. At least it's not a super long one, but it might be a little bit later than you wanted. But at least one of them was on a Saturday, so not too bad. It's not too bad.
So with those games coming up, I'll start with this. What are your expectations for the Philly Pittsburgh games this week?
Well, Philadelphia is a -13 in goal differential, bottom of the division at 9 points. Oh boy. 4-7-1. Pittsburgh, they're at a -12 goal differential. They have won their last 2 games, but they're 5-7-1 at 11 points. The Hurricanes do have 2 games in hand on Philly, 3 on Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's been playing. Technically, right now they're 6. I thought they were going to make a wild card. They're making me look bad already. So thank Pittsburgh. Another reason why I'm like, I should just stop caring about you. For those 2 games, you have to go and win those. I mean, you got to take advantage of beating the teams that you should. I mean, anyone can beat anyone. It's the NHL. I mean, look, the Sharks.
Look at this last week. Oh my gosh, look at it.
Yeah, there's been a lot of like, how did you beat this team? But they have, and like I said, anyone can beat anyone. But I would not want to drop stinkers against these guys. I mean, if you want to drop maybe against Vegas or maybe Colorado, sure, I understand that. But if it's Pittsburgh and Philly, you want to do that Pennsylvania sweep where you're taking those 2 guys out, because then you're getting more points in the Metro, because you're only 1 point back on the Rangers. You kind of just want to take care of business. So for me, my expectations is don't overlook them. Don't go into don't get trapped in a trap game, but just come out, do your thing. You're on a 6-game heater.
1 game at a time.
Flying. Yeah, 1 game at a time. Just take care of business. I mean, Torts teams are always tough against us because it's John Tortorella's Flyers, but just
so I will say something interesting with Philly is, even though they're struggling, their face-off percentage is higher than ours, and their penalty kill is actually 4th in the league, and ours is tied for 7th. So it's interesting. We're actually playing a team that has a higher penalty kill than us.
They do, but
granted, they might be on the penalty kill a lot, and that's why.
yeah. I mean, that's when we saw with the Canes. They almost had 90% one year because they were consistently on the penalty kill almost like 5 times a game. But I've said this the last few games on my other show. Limit your penalties. Do what you need to do. Just don't give them more opportunities. And the Flyers, they are dead last. Don't overlook them, but just play your game. Keep this run going. Honestly, you got to beat both of these teams. You can. You do not want to drop a stinker.
Yeah, these are 2 teams. I want to see the power play get back. I think they started to do a little bit too much, and I think it was a combination of you've been succeeding with it on the road trip. Now you've got it at home, and you got it at home against the Caps. That was their power play team, and you're probably like, all right, well, they're going to do this with Obi, and we were finally getting a power play after being down on a 5v3. So I think the guys were just trying a little bit too much, trying to be too cute. So just want them to get back to their basics, because it was working for them on the road trip.
Right.
You will get to see some fun young talent. I think it's Michkov for
Matvey Michkov. For
who's
Philly,
been doing really well. I think with Pittsburgh, it's always like just try not to get Crosby, because he will always succeed. Like I said in the beginning, he will drag his team limping over the finish line if he has to. But interesting is the guy. Interesting is though the guy the young blood that you wanted for that team has been down on their AHL.
Yep. Record McGordy got sent down a while back reassigned is the proper term. Yeah, to Wilkes-Barre Scranton. I mean, hey, it is what it is. And what you gotta give some credit to Lars Eller. Been playing some pretty good. Ricardo Raquel somehow has found his game back once again after struggling. From what I've heard, Michael Bunting's been kind of struggling too, so I don't know. I mean, it'll be an interesting game for sure.
We're familiar with Michael Bunting's
struggles. Yeah, but hey, they got Malkin, they got Letang, they got Crosby.
They have names that can pop off if you give them the chance. So I think if
I'm curious to see who's going to be in net. I'm curious to see who's going to be in net for them though. That's the main thing. Because goaltending has been kind of
iffy for both teams. I will say I think those are both ones the Canes, like you said, they should win. They probably need to win.
Don't fall into a trap game.
Yeah, like don't play your game. Don't play down. Don't play like you've already won the game. Don't be cute. Just play the game you've been playing for the last 2 weeks, and you're gonna do fine. I will say, looking into the West Coast trip, I really, really, really want to beat Colorado. I feel like we struggle every time we go to play.
I'll say this
Colorado, and I would really love to win.
Please stay healthy. Every time we go there,
they always get injured or they lose. Like it's both. Either, and I hate it.
Yes, and we know our other co-host is probably going to be working that game. Supposedly, we had nothing confirmed yet, but I'd be surprised if she wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
But holy crap, yeah, you gotta go beat Colorado. I mean, that's probably the one game where I can see them kind of dropping it because it's Colorado and they've always had our number in Denver.
In Colorado, yeah.
I would love a win on that we finally break that streak. I hope we break that streak. I'm so tired of losing to those guys.
I would say Vegas is one where I'd also see it be like a little bit probably like the Canucks, where it could be a 50-50. Maybe you take them to overtime. Utah, I would expect. I mean, Utah guys, it's still the Arizona Coyotes.
They've been playing pretty good though. They've been playing pretty good.
That's still a team. That's still a team we should win.
As of right now, they are fourth in the Central. They have 13 points. They're 5-4-3. Now the goal differential is a -5, but it's a lot better than St. Louis at a -6. Colorado is 7th in the division with 10 points. They're 5-7 with a -11, and they're on a 3-game losing streak too. So that's of right now though. That's at
the bottom.
Oh, shoot, yeah. I mean,
considering their off season.
Yeah, hey, not a lot of people thought Minnesota wasn't even playing really well, and they're 8-1-2. They're 4 points back in Winnipeg, and Winnipeg's at a +29 already. Like, get out of here! But while I said yes, Colorado is kind of towards the bottom-ish of that division. It's still Colorado because let's remember who they still have on that team. I could definitely see a thing where it could be you might have a couple overtime games in that one. So it's one of those things where, that might be tough, where you might drop it. I would say if you go on this West Coast trip, and because what is it, 3 games, 6 points? If you can get 4, I'll be happy. Even if you get, let's say you get a win. And then 2.
I'm grateful that we were all wrong for that first road trip. None of us.
I was right. I said 10. I said 10 for that trip.
10?
Yeah, I said 10. I called it. I said, give me the tenner. Give me. And I thought we were going to lose in overtime to the Canucks, but I said no because you can ask the unpaid intern. I said, give me 10. Called it. But if you take, let's say, I'll take 4 out of 6. Let's say you beat Utah. And at worst, you get 2 overtime losses to Vegas and Colorado. Okay. But that's not my official prediction. I do think we're going to get at least 4 points. I think it's going to be 2 wins. So give me a couple wins. You beat Colorado. You beat Colorado and you beat Utah. I'll give them the drop to Vegas because it's Vegas and it's them. But I think we finally break it in Colorado. And I think we beat Utah. So for this little roadie that we have coming up, give me 4 points with a win in Colorado and a win in Utah with the drop in Vegas. What about you, Kat? What are your expectations for the West Coast trip? Or I guess your prediction if you want to say one.
4.
You're talking 6 points.
I'm thinking 8. 6. I'm thinking I want 8. I want 8.
6.
What? I'm including the Philadelphia and Pittsburgh game.
Oh,
are you talking about just the West?
Oh, I didn't give. Okay, well, if we're doing Philly and Pittsburgh, so was it 2, 4, 6,
I want 8
8,
to
10?
9. I
You,
want
you
8
want
to
8?
9. I'd love 10, but I'm thinking 8 to 9.
Yeah, just clean sweep it. Just give me all 10 points.
Mhm.
Actually, technically you still gonna get 10 if you get a couple of overtimes. So you still can get 10 with a couple of OT losses. So all right, let's say if we're adding these
I'm gonna
5,
say 9.
going for 9. All right, so what's okay? Well, what's your 9, and I'll give you my official all 5 of these games.
I think my 9 will. I think my 9 will. I think Vegas will be our struggle.
Okay, so you think Vegas is the overtime loss game, and you're going for what 4-0-1 on the trip for a 9 out of 10. Okay, I'll say 8 with Philly, Pittsburgh are going to be wins. Colorado's the win. Utah's the win. I think we lose to Vegas in regulation.
Okay.
So I see your 9. I'm going with 8. A little 4.
I see your 9. I lower you 1.
I lower you 1. So I'll go 4-1-0. I'll go
Okay.
4-1-0 on over these next.
I think
5,
it'll be interesting. You think we're going to see Spencer Martin in any of these?
You know what? Give me a second. I want to look at the schedule because I want to see, because I think they're pretty much every other days, because I know we're going to talk about on an episode relatively soon, because I know we got a back-to-back coming up at the end of the month. Oh, and one not next week, but the following week. Yeah, so it's every other day. Yeah, I would say if you want to give Spencer Martin a shot, I would definitely, you want to give him at least one of those games. Because I don't think you want to keep running Piotr, because 4 games in 1 week for him, I really don't want to throw him into that much. So I could see Spencer Martin playing at least one of those. It could be Philly, could be Pittsburgh, but I would say you gotta get Piotr against Colorado. He probably has your best chance to beat the Avalanche. But yeah, I'd say over the next 5 games going into Wednesday against Utah, Wednesday or Thursday. Yeah, I'd definitely say you would have to at least play Spencer Martin at least once, maybe twice at the most. What do you think we're going to see Martin at all, or you have to at least one,
at least 1 or 2, I think.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I don't know which ones. I think
this
we're
week
just
is
going to
tough.
see how Piotr is going to be feeling. But
yeah. All right, so there you go. So you got 9 with an overtime loss against Vegas. I got 8 points with a 4-1-0 with our drop going to be against Vegas. So not bad. Pretty much on the same page, other than sneaking a point. So,
thanks everyone for catching up with us. It's a really good time to be a Canes fan. Yeah. We've been kind of cruising. You get to see a lot of new faces kind of doing Canes stuff, which is great. And it can only go up from there. Again, some of our big guys, I haven't even really started doing what they do during the season. So to see some more that their names get put onto the scoreboard will be great. We hope Martin Necas keeps doing what he does, because I mean, we're paying him for that. Let's see it.
A little bit. Yeah.
I'd love to see Piotr get really more comfortable in owning the net. Hope Freddie gets back healthy soon. Because I mean, you just gotta love that tandem. They work so well together.
Yeah.
And honestly, let's just tackle these last couple of home games, and then the boys will be on the road, and we'll see which one of us was correct. And me and Zach.
I would gladly give my words to take 9 out of a possible 10.
I'll gladly give my words and take 10. So let's see how it goes. But of course, we will see you guys on the socials. While we are either attending these games, watching them late at night, get some Canes after dark. But yeah, we're really excited. And again, sorry for the delay, but hope everyone had a great spooky season. Honestly, the scariest thing is going to be tomorrow when the Canes are playing, or whenever this is released, maybe it's today, when the Canes play Philadelphia and the election's going on. So maybe we're not quite out of spooky season, but there's going to be a lot to be thankful for, especially throughout this month with how the Canes are playing. Zach, where can everyone find you, and where can they find the network?
Well, I mean, we got to talk about our amazing network first, and that's at the Hockey Podcast, the Hockey Podcast Network.com. I gotta talk to Kyle, man. Like, come on, we got to make it a little more snappy. That's too much.
I mean THPN, but yeah.
Yeah, THPN. Yeah, they have a show on pretty much every team. Like we even have Terry Ryan from Shores. He has his own podcast. I think he's one of the 200s now for his show. We've got college hockey too. If you want to keep up with that. If you want to keep up with me, One True Zach on X. There's a link to my bio. You can check out all of my articles at the Hockey Writers. Very busy over there doing all of that. Also talk about the Chicago Wolves as well. I do have the other podcast that I do. It is Locked on Hurricanes. If you can go check that out. Yeah, like I've been doing on that show, been promoting this one. Got to promote the other one as well. But yeah, you can just check me out all there and all that good stuff. Kat, where can people find you and the amazing podcast on the socials?
Of course, you can find the amazing podcast, The Surgecast, on X, Twitter, Twix, whatever you call it, Instagram, and YouTube. Like, follow, subscribe. Check out all of the amazing work our unpaid intern has been doing, whether it's over on the YouTube side or the amazing graphics that are on our social media. Graphics so amazing. Dimitri Orlov actually shared one of them.
I mean, you love to see it. You love to see it.
Oh, he's grinning in the background. We can see it. But yeah, so really love it. Continue that engagement. Check out that he asks engaging questions every now and then. We'd love to hear all of your guys' response, your thoughts on the game, your thoughts on how the Canes are playing, certain players. So again, like, follow, subscribe, The Surgecast. Pretty easy. The same on all of our socials in our link tree.
Hit the bell notifications, share with other Caniacs, all that good stuff.
If you're looking to follow me, I will be on Twix at Caniac Chick or on TikTok at KVT Hunter 74.
When are the videos coming back, Callie? We've all just waiting patiently for all these like old school cat hunter.
Life has been very busy, but I do have ideas, and I do want the unpaid intern to help me with them. So they'll come back
add more to his plate. Here you go.
He's actually very good at them. So
that's true.
Yes, we'll keep you guys updated. It's very busy, especially when there is a game every other day right now. But yeah.
Little busy for all of us, that's for sure. Hopefully we shouldn't be too far away from another show. So hopefully either before Vegas or maybe after. Who knows? We'll definitely hopefully not have too long of stretches in between episodes, that's for sure. It's just the schedules of the games, and of course all of our schedules has been a little nuts. So thank you for everyone who have been patient with us dropping episodes and stuff. So
yep. So continue to watch your Canes if you're able to now on the new FanDuel network.
Of course, Mike and Trip as always.
Mike and Trip is always so far. Knock on all the wood. It's been operating, even though it was just valley a little bit ago. It seems to be operating pretty well.
I've had no problems down here in South Carolina watching it, that's for sure. And of course, it's good to see Hannah Yates and Shane Wills doing their thing as well. So the whole gang's together, everyone's doing their job. And I will say this: I love the Stormy surge from the last game against the Caps. So great. That was just awesome.
Hopefully, we've got 2 more storm surges in our future for this Tuesday and Thursday against Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. But for now, I'm Kat.
I'm Zach.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
On the Surgecast. See you later, guys.